Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Martin Drive Show. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Russia and Ukraine crisis. As we know, these peace talks that have been going on and off, pretty much since the war began, have led to different conclusions with absolutely no results, whether that's because advisors from Russian sides aren't communicating to Putin, or whether that's for another 150,000 reasons. Russia has now, well, not Russia, Putin now has figured out that they're losing the war and that these talks need to be escalated. So this is going to be about the potential of Vladimir Putin meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and seeing how that goes. So let's get the breaking news on that.
Talks in Turkey overnight, both sides sitting down for a second day in a row. Today's senior international correspondent Keir Simmons, he joins us now from Istanbul, Turkey. Keir, what's the latest?
Well, Hoda, despite the continuing fighting that Richard was talking about there does appear to have been some political progress in the building behind me there. Ukraine proposing that it could be neutral without any Western bases on its territory, proposing a 15-year plan for Crimea and a new strategic framework for Ukraine that would involve Western countries guaranteeing its safety. Now, the Russians described that as constructive, but I think, Hoda, notable that the Russians did not themselves appear to make any political plans, any political proposals. They say they'll take Ukraine's idea back to President Putin.
Well,
So it's almost like the Russian delegates are sitting there. That's smart. Okay, we'll let you know. So that's not really peace talks. I don't know how we can consider that the fact that there's any progress being made, and if that's how these talks have been going, I don't know how we've ever come to the conclusion that there's been any conclusion made, because at the end of the day, these delegates can't be trusted to bring anything to Putin because they're misleading him. We know this now for fact. On top of the fact that they're not even kind of saying, well, this is what we want, this is what we need to make this happen. And we all know what they want, and that's Ukraine and Zelensky dead, and that's never going to happen. So I don't know if these are very progressful, if that's a word.
Here, by our count, this is I think the 7th time that both sides have sat down for talks. There hasn't been much progress in any of those. So what is the likelihood that there's going to be a breakthrough from any of these discussions?
Well, I think, Hoda, there will be more talks. There is talk of a potential meeting between the foreign ministers of Russia and Ukraine, and the Russians now suggesting that there could be a meeting between President Zelensky and President Putin, something the Russians have not said was possible up until now. Some context here, though, I think, Hoda, it's possible to argue that this war, this conflict has been raging since back in 2014, hot and cold. So clearly one day's talks is not...
Yes and no. It's a conflict for those 8 years leading up to this. Sure, there was fighting in the Donbass region, right along that border. We covered the fact that there's been, back and forth over there. However, that doesn't equal what this equals, nor... See, this is where it's hard for me, right? In 2014, President Zelensky wasn't the president. The focus of Ukraine has drastically shifted since Zelensky has become president, to become a more democratic society, to be more involved with the West, is how they put it, and to be more, in a way, European and American rather than communistic or fascist, or however you want to view Russia and China on a base level. So entering into this point, the real issue that Putin at least laid out going into this war was that Zelensky was alive and that he was president. I don't understand how, unless Zelensky got down essentially and said, yes, master, I will be your puppet, that Putin's going to be happy and end this war. because that was the point of Putin going to war, was to get a new political regime. He didn't want to take over Ukraine and make it part of Russia. He wanted somebody leading Ukraine that when he said, all right, we're going to recreate the Soviet Union, they would say, okay, we're with you, Vladimir Putin, in this point. So if I'm Zelensky, I don't know what circumstances I would need, maybe U.S. and other official security around, to have this meeting, because that's really what Putin outlined, is he wants Volodymyr Zelensky dead. I don't see Zelensky becoming a puppet. I don't see Zelensky joining the Soviet Union. I do see this probably hindering them joining NATO for a little bit. I can understand whether there might have to be a deal struck in that regard, but if in 10 years, that deal's over and they decide to join NATO, isn't that just going to cause the same issue again? I really don't see how these peace talks work. They don't. It's been clear for 7-8 weeks.
Not going to solve all that. Ukrainian officials we've spoken to here said, give us more American weapons. That is how we will negotiate. And Hoda, we just saw the Ukrainian defense minister leave here in a convoy in army fatigues. Hoda?
All right, Keir, some good perspective there. Thank you so much.
So, the war is going to keep being fought. No one's giving up their country or their president for someone else who's invading their country. That's not gonna happen. I really am kind of upset that this was a story, only because, this is coming from one of the most major news sources. And am I surprised? Absolutely not. But the odds of them two peace talking are still insanely slim. I'll believe it when I see it, because Putin wants the man dead. That's the whole point. So why is he going to sit down? Oh, yeah, no, this is cool, bro. Nice to see you. Shake hand. No, it's not going to happen. The man wants to put a gun to his head and kill him and then put somebody else in Ukraine to run the country. How is that peace talk going to go?